Hi everybody. Welcome to my Kidney Wellness Tips channel. Did you know that the foods you eat could be slowly damaging your kidneys, even if you don't have kidney disease yet? It's true, and what you eat today can make all the difference in protecting your kidneys for the future. If you're someone who's struggling with kidney health or simply want to prevent kidney problems down the road, this video is a must-watch. Today, we're talking about the 6 foods that kidney patients need to stop eating immediately. These foods can worsen your condition, and the best part? You can easily avoid them with just a few smart changes in your diet. But here's the thing, we're not just talking about what to avoid. We'll also show you how to make simple, healthy swaps that will help you feel better and protect your kidneys in the long run. So, grab a seat, get ready to take notes, and stick with us all the way through. There's a lot of valuable information packed into this video. You don't want to miss a single tip that could change the course of your kidney health journey. Now, before we dive into the 6 foods that can harm your kidneys, let me give you a quick overview. Kidneys are incredibly important organs in the body. They filter waste, regulate fluid, balance electrolytes, and even produce hormones to help control blood pressure. But, when your kidneys are compromised, their ability to perform these tasks becomes impaired. As a nutritionist specializing in kidney health, I've seen firsthand how diet plays a pivotal role in both the prevention and management of kidney disease. It's not just about avoiding certain foods, it's about making informed, conscious choices that help support the overall health of your kidneys. And believe me, many of the common foods we love are actually working against us. 1. High sodium foods. First on our list today, high sodium foods. If you want to protect your kidneys, the first thing you need to know is that too much salt can be a serious problem. Now, we're all familiar with the salt shaker, but let me tell you, it's not just about what we sprinkle on our food. The real danger lies in the foods we consume every day, many of which are packed with sodium, often without us even realizing it. Think about it: processed foods, canned soups, frozen meals, and fast food. These foods are convenient, but they come with a hidden cost. They're loaded with sodium, and if you're eating them regularly, your kidneys are bearing the brunt of it. As someone who works with kidney patients daily, I can tell you that high sodium is one of the biggest factors contributing to kidney disease. But here's the thing, you don't have to be diagnosed with kidney disease to feel the effects of too much salt. Even in the early stages, high sodium can wreak havoc on your blood pressure, and if your blood pressure rises too high, it puts extra stress on your kidneys. Let's break it down. When you consume too much sodium, your body starts to retain more water. This creates an overload in your bloodstream. To manage that, your heart has to work harder to pump the extra volume, and your kidneys have to filter out that excess fluid. Over time, this added strain can cause kidney damage, leading to reduced kidney function and even kidney failure if left unchecked. Now, let's talk about what makes sodium so sneaky. Most of us think salt is just something we add to our food for flavor, right? Well, the problem is that a lot of sodium is already in the food we buy even before we ever think about adding it ourselves. For example, prepackaged meals, snacks, and processed meats like bacon and sausages can be packed with sodium, and that can add up fast. And it's not just salty foods that you should be concerned about. Did you know that even things like canned vegetables, instant noodles, and certain condiments, yes, even your favorite ketchup or soy sauce, can be loaded with sodium? When you add it all up, you could be consuming more sodium than you realize. I've seen it countless times in my practice. Patients who don't even realize how much salt they're consuming simply because they're eating convenience foods. That's why I always tell my clients, Just because something is labeled as low fat or easy doesn't mean it's good for your kidneys. For instance, those canned soups that are marketed as quick and easy might seem convenient, but they are often loaded with sodium far more than you should be eating in a single meal. You might even be getting a day's worth of sodium in just one serving, and that's a real problem. But don't worry, it's not all bad news. The good news is that there are plenty of ways to avoid excess sodium. First and foremost, try to stick with fresh, whole foods whenever possible. Fresh fruits, vegetables, and meats without added sodium are your best bet. When you cook at home, you have full control over how much salt you're adding, and you can use alternative seasonings like herbs, spices, lemon juice, or vinegar to boost flavor without the extra sodium. Over the years, I've seen firsthand how small changes can make a big difference in kidney health. For example, swapping out processed snacks like chips and packaged crackers for homemade snacks like roasted veggies or a handful of unsalted nuts can have an immediate impact. And when it comes to meals, try making your own soup with fresh ingredients, or prepare your salads using fresh greens and homemade dressings. Not only are you avoiding excessive sodium, but you're also giving your kidneys the healthy, clean food they deserve. It's important to remember, though, that avoiding high sodium foods isn't just for those with kidney disease. If you're someone who wants to protect their kidneys from future damage, cutting back on salt is a powerful preventative measure. And, as you cut out processed and canned foods, you'll also notice that your energy levels improve, your blood pressure stabilizes, and your overall health feels better. One of the things I love most about helping people make these dietary changes is seeing the results not just in their kidney function, but in their overall quality of life. It's amazing how much better you feel when you start feeding your body the nutrients it truly needs. When you cut down on sodium, it's not about deprivation. It's about choosing food that nourishes and supports your body. And remember, you don't have to be perfect. Small steps toward reducing sodium will go a long way in supporting your kidney health. To wrap things up, avoiding high sodium foods is one of the simplest and most effective ways to protect your kidneys. And while it might take some time to adjust to new eating habits, the payoff for your kidneys and overall health is more than worth it. So, next time you're in the grocery store, take a moment to read labels and make informed choices. Your kidneys will thank you for it. 2 high-phosphorus foods. Next, let's talk about high-phosphorus foods. Now, phosphorus is a mineral that your body needs in small amounts, but when your kidneys aren't functioning at their best, they have a harder time filtering it out of your blood. This can be problematic, especially because too much phosphorus in your system can lead to some pretty serious health concerns including bone disease. So, where do we find phosphorus in our food? Well, you might be surprised to know that it's found in quite a few common foods, some of which you may consume every day. Dairy products, like milk, cheese, and yogurt, are rich in phosphorus. But it's not just dairy. Things like cola, processed meats, and even some nuts and seeds contain high levels of this mineral. As a nutritionist working with kidney patients, one of the biggest challenges I see is how hard it can be for people to reduce phosphorus in their diet. Many people don't realize that high phosphorus foods are everywhere, and more often than not, they're in the foods we consider part of a healthy, everyday diet. For example, dairy is something we're taught to enjoy for its calcium content, but for those with kidney disease, the excess phosphorus can end up causing more harm than good. So, what happens when you eat too much phosphorus, especially when your kidneys aren't able to filter it out properly? The problem starts in your bloodstream. When phosphorus levels get too high, it can cause calcium to be pulled out of your bones, making them weaker over time. You might notice that bones become more fragile, leading to conditions like osteoporosis. In some cases, it can even contribute to calcification of your blood vessels, which can lead to heart disease. So, the buildup of phosphorus doesn't just affect your bones, it affects your entire body. I always tell my patients that it's not about eliminating foods high in phosphorus entirely, but about moderation. It's about balance. The goal is to manage your intake of these foods so that you're not overwhelming your kidneys with excess phosphorus. And here's the thing, you can still enjoy a lot of these foods in smaller portions. The trick is knowing where to find alternatives and how to create a balanced diet. For example, while dairy is high in phosphorus, you don't have to cut it out completely if you don't want to. You can opt for smaller portions or even go for lower phosphorus alternatives like almond milk or rice milk. These options still provide calcium without the added phosphorus burden. And when it comes to foods like cola, a simple switch to sparkling water with a slice of lemon or lime can help curb that craving for fizzy drinks without adding unnecessary phosphorus to your diet. Now, let's take a closer look at some specific foods you should be mindful of when it comes to phosphorus. As we mentioned earlier, dairy products are some of the highest offenders. But there's also something to keep in mind with processed foods. Many packaged foods contain added phosphorus as a preservative or to enhance flavor. These added phosphates are even worse than the naturally occurring phosphorus found in foods like meat and dairy because they are more easily absorbed by your body. So, when you're checking the labels of pre-packaged foods, look for terms like phosphoric acid, sodium phosphate, or calcium phosphate. These are all forms of added phosphorus that are often found in things like sodas, processed meats, and even fast food. As someone who has worked with many kidney patients over the years, I can tell you that moderation really is key. In the beginning, it might feel overwhelming to make dietary changes, especially when you have to pay attention to the phosphorus content in everything you eat. But don't let that discourage you. Small changes add up quickly, and once you start swapping out high phosphorus foods for better alternatives, you'll begin to notice positive changes in how you feel. For example, when you crave a cheese sandwich, try using a slice of low phosphorus cheese or a dairy-free alternative instead. And if you're used to having a glass of milk, opt for a fortified plant-based milk. It's all about making small, sustainable changes one step at a time. So, what can you eat if you're trying to avoid excess phosphorus? Well, the key is focusing on foods that are naturally low in phosphorus. Many fruits and vegetables are low phosphorus options, and they provide essential vitamins and minerals that help support kidney health. Apples, berries, and grapes are excellent fruit choices, and for vegetables, think about things like bell peppers, cauliflower, and lettuce. I always recommend focusing on fresh, whole foods like these. Not only are they low in phosphorus, but they also help balance out your intake of other nutrients that your kidneys need. These foods can really make a difference in keeping your phosphorus levels in check while also giving your body the nutrients it craves. To summarize, high phosphorus foods can be tricky to avoid, especially since they're in so many things we eat regularly. But remember, moderation is your friend here. You don't need to completely eliminate dairy, processed meats, or other phosphorus-rich foods from your life. Just be mindful of how much you're consuming, and try to focus on foods that are lower in phosphorus to protect your bones and overall health. Making these changes doesn't have to be a huge challenge. In fact, once you start exploring low phosphorus alternatives, you'll find that there are plenty of delicious and satisfying options to choose from. It's all about taking control of your health and making choices that work for you one meal at a time. 3. Processed meats. Let's move on to another food category that you should absolutely steer clear of if you want to protect your kidneys: Processed meats. Now, we all love the savory, crispy bite of bacon or a juicy sausage, right? It's a common part of many meals. But when it comes to kidney health, processed meats like bacon, sausages, hot dogs, and deli meats should be at the very top of your do not eat list. Why? Because they are packed with sodium, saturated fats, and chemicals that can seriously harm your kidneys and your heart. First of all, let's talk about sodium. If you've watched my previous videos or heard about kidney health before, you know that sodium is a big problem for kidney patients. These processed meats contain a huge amount of sodium, which, as we know, raises blood pressure and puts strain on your kidneys. But there's more to it than just salt. Here's where it gets tricky. Processed meats don't just have a lot of sodium, they also contain saturated fats, which are harmful in more ways than one. These fats contribute to clogged arteries and can increase your cholesterol levels, leading to cardiovascular problems. And, when you have both high blood pressure and cardiovascular issues, your kidneys are working overtime to try and manage the extra stress. It's a vicious cycle that can lead to further kidney damage. As a nutritionist, I see this problem all the time. Processed meats are a regular part of the diet for so many people, but they come with a hefty price tag for kidney and heart health. You might not feel the immediate impact of eating these meats, but over time, that buildup of salt and fat can take a toll. It's not about immediate harm, it's about the long-term damage. But why are processed meats so dangerous? Well, when meats are processed, meaning they're cured, salted, smoked, or packed with preservatives, they become much less healthy than their fresh counterparts. These meats might taste great, but the processing is what adds all the sodium, fats, and chemicals that your body doesn't need. You may have heard about nitrates and nitrites, chemicals often used in processed meats to preserve color and extend shelf life. These chemicals are a concern because they can lead to the formation of compounds that are linked to cancer and other health problems. And all of this puts more strain on your kidneys, which are already working hard to filter out waste and toxins. I get it, cutting out processed meats can be tough, especially if they've been a staple in your diet for years. But here's the good news: you don't have to give up flavor or protein. In fact, there are so many healthy alternatives that are much gentler on your kidneys and heart. And trust me, when you make the switch, you'll feel better. One of the best alternatives to processed meats is plant-based proteins. Beans, lentils, and chickpeas are fantastic sources of protein, and they come with the added bonus of fiber, which is great for your digestion and overall health. Not to mention, they're much lower in sodium and fat, which makes them a kidney-friendly choice. Other great alternatives include lean cuts of chicken and fish. Now, I'm not saying you have to become a vegetarian or vegan, but if you're someone who enjoys meat, opting for lean proteins is a great choice. Grilled chicken breast or baked salmon is not only packed with high-quality protein, but they're also much easier for your kidneys to process than fatty, processed meats. Switching to these alternatives can have a real impact on your health. You're not only reducing the stress on your kidneys, but you're also helping to lower your blood pressure and improve your heart health. You'll feel more energetic and have more control over your overall well-being. And trust me, these small changes add up to make a big difference. In my work with kidney patients, I often recommend making simple swaps like this. Start by replacing one meal a week that contains processed meat with a plant-based option or a lean protein source. Over time, these changes will start to feel more natural, and you'll notice that you're not missing out on flavor or satisfaction. In fact, you might even discover new dishes and flavors that you love, and your kidneys will thank you. So, if you're someone who loves a good bacon sandwich or a sausage on the grill, I get it. But here's the deal, you don't have to completely eliminate those foods from your life forever. Moderation is key. Enjoy them as an occasional treat, but don't make them a daily part of your diet. The more processed the food is, the more caution you should exercise when including it in your diet. By reducing processed meats in your diet, you're giving your kidneys and heart a much needed break. And you're making room for more nutrient-rich, kidney-friendly foods that can actually improve your health. Try experimenting with new recipes, and see how easy it is to incorporate plant-based proteins, lean meats, and fish into your meals. You might just find that you feel better than you have in years. To sum it up, processed meats like bacon, sausages, and deli meats should be limited or eliminated from your diet if you want to protect your kidneys and heart. These foods are high in sodium, saturated fats, and harmful chemicals that can do long-term damage. Instead, choose healthier alternatives like plant-based proteins, lean meats, and fish. They'll provide your body with the nutrients it needs without overloading your kidneys. Making these simple swaps doesn't mean giving up flavor or convenience, it just means being smarter about the choices you make. And in the long run, your kidneys, heart, and overall health will be better for it. 4. Canned and processed foods. Now, let's talk about another group of foods that can harm your kidneys: canned and processed foods. These items are convenient, and let's be honest, they make life easier, especially when you're pressed for time. But convenience comes at a cost. From canned vegetables to canned soups, many of these foods are packed with sodium and preservatives, which can do a lot of damage to your kidneys, especially if you're already dealing with kidney disease or want to prevent it. Think about it: canned beans, canned tomatoes, and even canned fruits often have extra sodium added to them. And don't even get me started on canned soups. Those things can contain a massive amount of salt, far more than you should be consuming in one meal. This excessive sodium can raise your blood pressure and stress out your kidneys. Over time, this puts unnecessary strain on your kidneys and makes it harder for them to do their job, which, as you know, is to filter out waste and maintain your body's balance. When I first started working with kidney patients, one of the very first steps we took was removing canned and processed foods from their diets. It's incredible how quickly you can see improvements in kidney function just by switching out these foods for fresh, whole ingredients. I can tell you from experience the difference is night and day. I remember working with a patient who had been eating canned soups and processed meals regularly. After just a few weeks of switching to homemade soups and fresh vegetables, her kidney function improved significantly. And the best part? She felt better overall. She had more energy, her blood pressure dropped, and she felt more in control of her health. It was a game changer for her. So, why is it that canned and processed foods are so harmful? The answer lies in the ingredients used to preserve these foods. In addition to sodium, many canned foods contain chemicals and preservatives like BPA, bisphenol A, which is a substance often used in the lining of cans. While the long-term effects of BPA are still being studied, it's best to avoid unnecessary exposure to potentially harmful chemicals, especially when it comes to kidney health. Preservatives and added chemicals are often used to extend the shelf life of foods, making them more appealing to manufacturers. But these additives can put extra stress on your kidneys and contribute to inflammation in your body. And that inflammation? It's something you want to avoid when it comes to protecting your kidneys. Here's what I always tell my patients: the fewer processed foods you eat, the better. Fresh is always better. It's simple. When you cook with fresh ingredients, you're giving your kidneys the best shot at staying healthy. Fresh vegetables, fresh fruits, fresh meats, these all come with fewer additives and are naturally lower in sodium, which means your kidneys have less work to do. It's not always easy to avoid canned foods. I know that. They're convenient, they save time, and they seem like a quick fix for busy lives. But trust me when I say that the benefits of switching to fresh foods will make all the difference for your kidney health in the long run. So, what can you do instead of relying on canned foods? One of the best changes you can make is to focus on fresh or frozen options. Frozen vegetables and fruits, for example, can be a great alternative to their canned counterparts. They are typically frozen at their peak ripeness, which means they retain much of their nutritional value. Plus, they don't have the added sodium or preservatives that come with canned products. If you're looking for convenience, there are plenty of fresh options that are easy to prepare, too. For instance, frozen vegetables are a quick and easy way to add healthy greens and other nutrients to your meals without the risk of added sodium. You can also batch cook fresh meals and store them in your freezer to have ready-to-eat options whenever you need them. When I work with kidney patients, I always encourage them to get creative in the kitchen. Start by making simple meals with fresh ingredients, like roasted chicken with steamed broccoli, or a veggie stir-fry with brown rice. There's no need to complicate things. Fresh meals don't have to be fancy or time-consuming, and they're much better for your kidneys. If you don't have time to cook every day, consider meal prepping on weekends so you have kidney-friendly meals ready to go during the week. Let's talk about one more thing, the label on canned foods. If you do buy canned goods, be sure to read the labels carefully. Many manufacturers add low sodium or no added salt labels to their products, but that doesn't always mean they're completely free of sodium. Some products can still have a significant amount of sodium, even if it's lower than the regular version. Always check the nutrition facts and ingredient list to be sure. Here's a tip: if you can, try to buy fresh produce and meats and freeze them yourself. It's a small investment of time that can pay off in better kidney health. You can buy fresh fruits and vegetables in bulk, portion them into freezer bags, and have a stash of ready-to-go ingredients that you can easily pull out when needed. So, to sum it up, canned and processed foods may be convenient, but they come with a lot of hidden risks when it comes to kidney health. They're often high in sodium, preservatives, and chemicals that put extra strain on your kidneys. The best thing you can do for your kidney health is to focus on fresh, whole foods. Your kidneys will thank you for it, and you'll feel so much better knowing that you're nourishing your body with the best ingredients. Remember, fresh is always better. And when it comes to kidney health, that rule is especially important. By making small changes to your diet and focusing on fresh, whole foods, you'll be giving your kidneys the care they need to function at their best for years to come. 5 high-potassium foods. Let's talk about high-potassium foods. Potassium is an essential nutrient. It helps with muscle function, nerve function, and balancing fluids in your body. But here's the thing, when it comes to kidney disease, too much potassium can actually be dangerous. While your body needs potassium, when your kidneys are damaged, they struggle to filter out the excess. This can lead to dangerously high potassium levels in your blood, which is a serious condition known as hyperkalemia. Some of the most common high potassium foods include bananas, oranges, tomatoes, potatoes, and leafy greens. These foods are packed with potassium, which is great for most people, but for those with kidney disease, consuming too much can put a lot of pressure on your kidneys and cause dangerous complications. One thing I hear a lot from kidney patients is that they didn't realize how much potassium they were consuming. Potassium is naturally present in so many foods that it can sneak up on you, even in foods you wouldn't expect. For example, while we all know bananas are high in potassium, many people don't realize that potatoes, one of the most common side dishes, also pack a potassium punch. So, it's easy to exceed the recommended potassium intake without even realizing it. But here's the good news: you don't have to completely cut out high potassium foods. It's all about moderation and making the right swaps. If you can be mindful of how much potassium you're consuming and swap out some high potassium foods for lower potassium alternatives, you can manage your levels without feeling deprived. Let's take a closer look at some common high potassium foods and how to make better choices for your kidney health. First, bananas. They're often the go-to snack for many of us, and they are indeed packed with potassium. A medium banana has about 400 to 450 milligrams of potassium, which is a lot when you're trying to keep your levels in check. But here's the good news: there are plenty of other fruits that are lower in potassium that you can enjoy instead. For instance, apples, berries, and grapes are all lower potassium alternatives that are just as delicious. Many of my kidney patients tell me they feel like they're missing out on fruit when they cut back on bananas, but in reality, there are so many great options to choose from. Apples are a great snack, and berries like strawberries, raspberries, and blueberries are not only lower in potassium, but they're also packed with antioxidants that are great for overall health. So, instead of reaching for a banana, try swapping it out with a small apple or a handful of berries. You'll get that satisfying sweetness without the high potassium. Next up, tomatoes. While tomatoes are an excellent source of vitamins, they're also high in potassium, particularly when they're concentrated in things like tomato paste, sauces, or even ketchup. One medium-sized tomato can contain over 300 milligrams of potassium, so if you're watching your potassium intake, it's important to be mindful of how often you're eating these foods. But again, don't worry, there are other ways to get that tomato flavor without the potassium overload. You can use lower potassium vegetables like bell peppers or cucumbers as alternatives. And if you really miss the taste of tomato, try using a smaller portion or opt for a reduced sodium version of tomato-based products. As a nutritionist, one of the first things I tell my clients is that it's not about cutting out foods entirely, but about making smarter choices. So, if you love tomatoes, there's no need to eliminate them completely from your diet. Just adjust the portion size and balance it with other lower potassium vegetables. This way, you're still able to enjoy your meals without worrying about exceeding your potassium limit. Potatoes are another big culprit in the world of high potassium foods. Whether they're baked, mashed, or fried, potatoes can deliver a hefty dose of potassium. A medium-sized baked potato can contain up to 900 milligrams of potassium, which is almost half of the recommended daily intake for someone with kidney disease. So what can you do instead? Well, there are several lower potassium vegetable options to choose from. For example, cauliflower is a great substitute for mashed potatoes. You can steam cauliflower, mash it up, and add some garlic and olive oil to create a creamy, flavorful dish that's much lower in potassium. You can also try substituting potatoes with rice or pasta, which are naturally lower in potassium. Making these swaps might take some time to get used to, but I promise you it's worth it. When you start to experiment with different vegetables and alternatives, you'll find that your meals can be just as satisfying without the high potassium. Plus, you're giving your kidneys a break and reducing the risk of potassium buildup in your blood. Now, let's talk about leafy greens. While leafy greens like spinach and kale are packed with nutrients, they are also very high in potassium. While these greens are typically healthy for most people, they can be a bit too much for those with compromised kidney function. But don't fret. You can still enjoy a variety of vegetables without overloading on potassium. Lettuce, cabbage, and cucumbers are all great options that are naturally low in potassium. These can make delicious salad bases or side dishes that don't put extra pressure on your kidneys. I know that many people enjoy having salads with spinach or kale, and I don't want you to feel like you have to cut those greens out completely. Instead, I recommend mixing them with lower potassium options like lettuce or arugula. This way, you get the benefit of some greens without going overboard on potassium. So, to wrap up, high potassium foods can be a challenge for those with kidney disease, but with a little awareness and some thoughtful swaps, you can still enjoy a variety of tasty meals. Remember, potassium is important for your body, but moderation is key when your kidneys aren't functioning as they should. Instead of eliminating high potassium foods entirely, focus on balancing your diet with lower potassium alternatives like apples, berries, cauliflower, and lettuce. And don't forget, small changes can make a huge difference in protecting your kidneys and managing your potassium levels. Every small step counts. So, start by making 1 or 2 simple swaps in your meals. Over time, these changes will become second nature, and your kidneys will thank you for it. 6 sugary foods and drinks. Finally, we come to the last group of foods you should be avoiding: sugary foods and drinks. Now, you might be thinking, what's the big deal with a little sugar? A soda here, a piece of candy there. Well, let me tell you, too much sugar can cause serious harm to your kidneys and overall health. Whether it's soda, sweets, or sugary coffee drinks, high sugar intake can lead to obesity, diabetes, and high blood pressure, all of which negatively affect kidney function. It's easy to underestimate the damage sugar can do. A can of soda, for example, might have up to 40 grams of sugar. That's nearly 10 teaspoons. When you consume that much sugar regularly, your body begins to store it as fat, which can lead to weight gain and eventually obesity. And what happens when you're overweight? Your body is more prone to developing conditions like type 2 diabetes and high blood pressure, both of which put extra strain on your kidneys. As a nutritionist, I've worked with many kidney patients who didn't realize just how much sugar they were consuming. Sugary foods and drinks are hidden everywhere in snacks, soda, even healthy fruit juices. I often tell my clients, sugar is not your friend. Not only does sugar contribute to kidney damage by promoting conditions like diabetes, but it also creates inflammation in the body. And this inflammation? It puts additional strain on your kidneys, making them work harder than they need to. The effects of sugar on kidney health can be long-term, and they're not always immediately noticeable. But over time, excess sugar increases your risk of kidney damage. Think of it this way: sugar accelerates the problems that already exist in your body. For those already at risk, like those with high blood pressure or diabetes, consuming too much sugar can fast-track the decline in kidney function. It's not just about diabetes and high blood pressure, either. Chronic sugar intake also triggers inflammation in your body. And when your body is inflamed, every organ suffers, including your kidneys. This chronic low-level inflammation makes it harder for your kidneys to filter out waste and maintain fluid balance. Essentially, your kidneys are fighting against internal stress that can slowly wear them down. Consider this: your kidneys have to work extra hard to filter out excess sugar from your bloodstream. When there's too much sugar, your kidneys get overwhelmed, and over time, this can lead to kidney damage. So, it's really important to take control of your sugar intake to protect your kidneys from further harm. Know that for many people, cutting back on sugar feels like an impossible task. We're surrounded by sugary snacks and drinks, and they're often seen as quick fixes for energy or cravings. But it's absolutely possible to reduce your sugar intake, and I'm here to guide you through that. The first step is understanding how much sugar is in the foods you're eating. When you start reading nutrition labels, you'll be surprised at how much sugar is hidden in foods you might not think of as sweet, like salad dressings, sauces, or even healthy granola bars. So, what can you do to replace sugary foods and drinks with healthier options? First, let's talk about beverages. Soda, energy drinks, and sugary coffee drinks are loaded with sugar and they're often packed with empty calories. Instead of reaching for a sugary drink, try water, herbal teas, or even sparkling water with a splash of lemon or lime. These alternatives will hydrate you without adding any sugar to your system. Water is always the best option, but if you're craving something with flavor, herbal teas, or infused water with cucumber, mint, or citrus are refreshing, zero-calorie choices. These drinks not only hydrate but also give you that satisfying, flavorful experience without the sugar. I often tell my clients that the change doesn't have to be drastic. Start by replacing one sugary drink a day with a healthier option. Instead of that soda or sugary coffee drink, try having a glass of water or unsweetened iced tea. You'll be surprised how quickly your cravings for sugar diminish. It's all about creating new habits that are sustainable in the long run. Now, when it comes to sweets, yes, I know, everyone loves a good dessert. But here's the thing, you don't have to eliminate sweets completely from your life. Instead, try replacing sugary desserts with natural, whole foods like fresh fruit. Berries, apples, and oranges are all naturally sweet and provide fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants, which benefit your overall health, especially your kidneys. Try swapping out that sugary piece of cake for a handful of mixed berries. Not only are you satisfying your sweet tooth, but you're also adding a boost of antioxidants that help fight inflammation in your body. Fresh fruit is also a great option for satisfying a sugar craving without all the added sugars and chemicals you get in processed desserts. One of my favorite tips to share with my clients is this: if you're craving something sweet, choose fruit. It's nature's candy. You get the sweetness without the downside of sugar overload. Plus, the natural sugars in fruit are paired with fiber, which helps slow down the absorption of sugar and reduces the overall impact on your kidneys. Another great way to reduce sugar is by choosing healthier alternatives for baking or cooking. For example, instead of using refined white sugar, try swapping it with natural sweeteners like stevia or monk fruit. These options are much gentler on your blood sugar levels and can help satisfy your cravings for sweetness without spiking your insulin. Let's face it, cutting out sugar altogether isn't realistic for everyone. But by making these small adjustments and swapping sugary drinks and desserts for healthier options, you're already taking big steps toward better kidney health. These little changes, like choosing fruit over cake or swapping soda for water, add up over time and make a real difference in protecting your kidneys from further harm. To wrap it up, sugary foods and drinks are a major threat to kidney health. They contribute to obesity, diabetes, and high blood pressure, all of which increase the risk of kidney damage. The key to protecting your kidneys isn't about eliminating all sugar forever, it's about moderation. Instead of sugary drinks, reach for water or herbal teas, and opt for natural sweetness from fruit instead of processed desserts. Remember, small changes can have a big impact, and every step you take toward reducing sugar is a step closer to better kidney health. So, start today. Choose healthier drinks, enjoy the natural sweetness of fruit, and gradually reduce the sugar in your diet. Your kidneys will thank you, and you'll feel better overall. It's not about perfection, it's about making smarter choices for your health, one meal and one drink at a time. Now that you know which foods to avoid, let me leave you with this: it's not just about cutting out harmful foods, it's about replacing them with kidney-friendly options that nourish and protect your kidneys. Your health is in your hands, and the power of nutrition is stronger than you might think. The road to kidney wellness starts with small but meaningful changes in your diet. Remember, it's not just about the foods we eat today, it's about setting ourselves up for a healthier tomorrow. Every little decision you make today can lead to big changes tomorrow. By making informed choices, you're giving your kidneys the best shot at staying strong and healthy for years to come. As someone who's worked with many kidney patients, I can tell you that every small step, whether it's cutting back on high-sodium foods or choosing healthier snacks, adds up to make a big difference in your kidney health. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. If you found this video helpful and want more kidney wellness tips, make sure to hit the subscribe button and share this video with anyone who might benefit from it. Your kidney health matters, and sharing this information can make a real difference for others too. And if you're serious about reversing kidney disease or learning more about kidney health, check out the link in the description below for more resources. Your kidneys will thank you for it.